So today we'll talk about theories of the state. Citizens in liberal democracies are entitled to rights and freedoms. The traditional view of these rights and freedoms are linked to the emergence of the modern state. Citizen rights were initially preserved to the privileged classes, guaranteed and protected by the means of the state monopoly of the legitimate use of physical force. The expansion of citizenship came with the expansion of the power of the state. Modern constitutions, courts, police forces, and border controls emerged in the 19th century in response to middle-class demand for protection of private property from the state, from criminal activity and immigration. Related to this is the idea that the nation is inherently connected to citizen rights and freedom. These democratic rights and freedom are evident as a result of a single national identity. The democratic will requires a single language and mass media. Majority rule is legitimate because of a single national culture. Sharing a common national destiny, the ruling class were willing to allow economic redistribution and grant social rights to the working classes. European countries developed the welfare state once the nation has been established as the main source of political identification. This traditional connection between nation-state and citizenship seems to suggest that citizenship is irrevocably related to the nation-state. Hence, as the EU is neither a state nor a nation, transnational EU citizenship is impossible. This is an inaccurate view. First, there is nothing special about the relation between the nation-state and citizenship. This is a particular geographical and historical ideal type. The classical homogeneous nation-state only developed in a few Western European countries. Fully democratic welfare state only developed in the middle of the 20th century. Citizen rights existed in non-state, non-national setting well before this period. In the European city-states, economic rights were granted to non-citizens well before the nation-state was established. Also, in multi-ethnic polities such as Belgium and Switzerland, redistributive welfare state developed despite weak social cultural solidarity bonds. Second, when it comes to democracy and civil rights, it's not clear that the nation-state came first. Democratic election and practice predate the emergence of the modern nation-state across Europe and North America. National identity and the institution of the national state were products of the development of universal democratic rights, not the other way around. Moreover, citizen rights today are very different from those of earlier periods. The growth of political and economic migration have forced the Western nation-state to reconfigure their traditional citizenship policies. As a result of global free trade and capital flows, economic rights have been extended to non-residents and non-nationals. The boundary of political rights is becoming blurred as more people are holding dual citizenship and enjoy the associated voting rights. Moreover, Western societies are not homogeneous nations. Waves of immigration have produced multi-ethnic and multi-religious policies, and this has led the states to rethink their citizenship policies and to develop a new set of rights such as racial equality and minority representation. There is a tension in citizenship policy. Citizenship requires the institutions of the states to guarantee positive freedom through the courts and to secure and protect negative freedom through the police and security forces. Moreover, the emergence of global capitalism, migration and multi-ethnic society means that the state is no longer an autonomous and independent organization closed over a national defined population. Rights, participation and representations are no longer constrained to the realm of the nation-state. This tension is central in the politics of citizenship in the EU. By establishing transnational citizen rights, the EU is undermining the traditional nation-state. Defining and securing transnational citizenship, the EU is developing new state powers and security mechanisms at the European level.